So Fox Sports released their 25 bold predictions for the 2025 NRL season. Some of them are pretty interesting. Some of them are, well, bold is the correct term for them. So we're just going to go through them and see how we think they're going to sound like. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Broncos finished top 2. They've got the cattle and now they have the premiership winning coach. The Broncos will push for their first minor premiership in 25 years under Michael Maguire, who has signed star recruit Ben Hunt. Brisbane went within 3 minutes of winning the premiership just 15 months ago, and if everybody stays fit, they'll be right back in the race in 2025. This is an interesting one. I'm pretty interested to see how Michael Maguire does go. Hopefully the Broncos boys club stay out of it. But yeah, this is a bloke, I actually reckon he's a coach, hardlined. He's going to get them back on the up and up. I reckon Broncos will make the finals next year. But top 2, I think that's a bit of an audacious call. And you've obviously got as well, you've got Ben Hunt coming back, and who I think will go quite well. But yeah, I think Brisbane will make the finals. I think top 4 is even a bit of a stretch. I think they'll make like 6th or something as it currently stands with me. So not the worst prediction, but it's it's bold. You got to go for them. Eels collect the spoon. They avoided it by winning the Spoon Bowl this year, but Parramatta have lost several key players, and they've also now got a rookie coach at the helm. Jason Riles has been tasked with overseeing the rebuild, and he'll have to do it without Regan Campbell-Gillard, Clint Gutherson, and Blaze Talagi. But it's not all bad news. He's recruited Zach Lomax, Josh Adokar, Isaiah Alongi, Dean Hawkins, Josh Papali'i, and Jordan Samarani. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting in terms of getting the online consensus about who people think are going to get the spoon this year. I've seen a fair many people say the Knights, which is interesting. Like, as a Knights fan, by the way they're standing at the moment, I don't think they'll make the finals, but I think saying they're going for the spoon's a bit audacious because we've still got like a pretty good team. I mean, granted, are set to lose a couple of players, maybe in a couple of years, because our off-contract situation next year is going to be interesting. But yeah, I do think Parramatta are kind of in that sort of area of possibly in contention to getting the spoon. So I don't think it's that weird of a call. I do think there should be other teams potentially in the mix. But yeah, I think Parramatta, in terms of like a clear storyline and consensus, is probably the one that's kind of leading. But hey, who knows? You've got Adokar and Lomax, could do wonders, but yeah, it's putting a lot of pressure on Mitchell Moses. Roosters missed the top 8. The Roosters will never admit it, but they're officially rebuilding, and a repeat of 2016 could be on the cards. Trent Robinson told the club bosses that he needed to reset that year, and the Tricolours came second last, but the move paid dividends with premierships in 2018 and 2019. The Roosters have lost Joseph Suaalii, Jariria Hargreaves, Joey Manu, Luke Keary, Satili Tupanua, and Terrell May, and we're tipping they pay the price for it big time. Pretty understandable. They've lost like a truckload of talent. It's quite variable. I mean, I can actually kind of agree with this, that they, from the way I see it, I see them more so being out than in. They have got good players coming in, like Mark Nawangani-Tawasi is, I think, going to go quite well. So I think the Roosters, they won't be as bad as people think, but yeah, I mean, Roosters to miss the 8, yeah, I think it's probably a fair enough call at this point. Bear in mind it's December, anything can happen. And there's even talks apparently now that Brandon Smith might be joining Parramatta at some point, so yeah, it could be that, yeah, the Roosters are in a rebuild, so who knows. No coaches get sacked. It'll be the first time in a long time every coach survives the season, but we're tipping it to happen in 2025. That's because the current crop of NRL coaches are largely made up of rookies or premiership winners, both of which rarely get sacked. The only one with more than 3 years experience and hasn't won a premiership is Newcastle's Adam O'Brien, but he's signed until the end of 2027. And he'll be the one getting sacked. Yeah, to be fair, I feel like if the Knights don't get off to a good enough start, I reckon Adam O'Brien's going to get the sack. So yeah, I feel like just with that consensus, I think, yeah, I just don't think if the Knights don't go well, I think Adam O'Brien's probably the most likely to get sacked out of any coach in the NRL at this point. So, Rabbitohs make top 4. Wayne Bennett simply doesn't miss the finals, and when he's got a half-decent roster, we're tipping he'll immediately make South's contenders again. Jack White and Latrell Mitchell are the type of guys that will thrive playing under Bennett's unique style. Thrown in rising star Jai Gray, exciting English half Lewis Dodd, and the returning Campbell Graham, and there's plenty of reasons for Rabbitohs fans to be excited. Hold the fucking phone. But also, like, South's lost a fair amount of talent as well. I mean, I think Damien Cook might be a decently sized loss for them. It's like, I don't want to bash on South Sydney, but it's like, yes, came 16th last year. I think they'll improve, definitely. I have them currently sitting probably just outside of the finals, but nowhere near top 4. That's actually that's just a crackpipe dream, unfortunately, just from my sake. But obviously, Wayne Bennett is a very good coach, so who knows. Ben Hunt wins Dally M medal. Hunt went close to winning the top gong at the Dragons in 2022, and now the shackles are off. This could be his best season yet. Adam Reynolds will handle all the tasks Hunt was responsible for in Wollongong, and the latter will be able to just play football. We're tipping the man who had the most try assists in 2024 to take his game to the next level and become the oldest Dally M medal winner since Cameron Smith won it as a 34-year-old in 2017. This does obviously line up with obviously Brisbane getting into top 2, so I feel like if that was the case, then yeah, I can understand Ben Hunt getting the Dally M, but it's just, in terms of lining up with, I think they'll improve, I think they'll make the finals, not top 2, so I think Ben Hunt will be in the race. I reckon he'll come within top 5 probably, but probably not ready to shoot the gun on him to say that he'll get first. Lewis Dodd becomes a household name. Dodd booted the field goal to sink the Panthers in the World Club challenging Golden Point extra time, and now we're tipping him to leave his mark as an NRL player. The former St Helens star won the 2021 Super League Grand Final as a teenager, and he signed a 3-year deal with the Rabbitohs. The 22-year-old should take his game to the next level under Wayne Bennett, so don't be surprised to see Dodd carving up at the business end of 2025. Yeah, again, it's kind of like on the consensus of, South immediately bouncing back when Bennett comes in. I'm excited to see how Lewis Dodd does go, so it would be nice to see him on the upper end, but it just depends on how Souths go from the get-go, because like everything that could have gone wrong for South Sydney last year did, and like there could be a possibility that could happen again. For South fans' sake, I hope it doesn't, but that's just a possibility. Bronson Xerri makes Origin debut. Everybody loves a comeback story, and Xerri's return was great to watch in 2024, and now we're tipping him to make the next step. The Bulldogs handed Xerri a career lifeline following his 4-year ban for using performance-enhancing drugs, and he repaid the faith in spades. The 24-year-old scored more than once every 2 games on average, and we're tipping New South Wales coach Laurie Daly to come calling in 2025. It'll probably be the case because Laurie Daly only picks Sydney players, so yeah, that's probably a possibility, but at this point, I feel like Xerri and Best could be an interesting centers pairing, but then you got Trebojevic, which he needs to be healthy, so he could be an impact sub, but yeah, I feel like some cards need to be dealt the right way for Bronson Xerri to make his Origin debut. But hey, would be cool to see. Robert Toya to win Dally M Rookie of the Year. Robert Toya was the first name Trent Robertson said when asked who he'd be turning to in the outside backs following a mass exodus. The 20-year-old has endured a horrific string of injuries during his time at the Roosters, rupturing his ACL in 2022 before he suffered fractured and another ACL blow. The powerful centre made a successful return to New South Wales Cup last season, and we're tipping him to be the competition's breakthrough star and win the Dally M Rookie of the Year. Generally, I can't actually make heads and tails about Rookie of the Year stuff because it's just such a crapshoot. It's like, it's so hard to predict. It's like, it should be this bloke, this random generated bloke. It's hard to tell. I mean, hopefully he stays healthy, and if he does step up for the Roosters, that could definitely be a possibility. So yeah, it wouldn't be too surprising. Actually, who else do you guys think would be potential Rookie of the Years for 2025? Let me know in the comments below. Ronaldo Mulitalo makes Dally M Team of the Year. The Sharks winger gets better with every season, and we're backing the trend to continue in 2025 with a haul of 20 to 25 tries. Mulitalo crosses on average in 70% of games for his club, and an incredible 87.5% of the time when he plays for New Zealand. If Cronulla fires next year, which we're tipping, then so will their wingers, and Mulitalo is one of the first players picked each week. Yeah, I mean, with that understanding, it probably would make sense that Mulitalo would be up there. It's just, I feel like in terms of wingers, in the last couple of years, it's gotten quite competitive. But yeah, I feel like if the Sharks do play up to their potential finally, which they've kind of been resting in for the last couple of years, but if they actually properly go out there and give him the bollocks, I reckon, yeah, very much possibility that Mortallo gets into the team of the year. Brandon Smith signs with the Eels. This was, I think I brought up a little bit earlier. You'd think clubs would realise by now that when the Storm let a representative player go, it's usually for a very good reason. The Roosters thought they would harness Smith's enormous personality and talent, but alas, they're now done with him. Struggling clubs go for these players, and with the Eels fighting to stay off the bottom of the table, they'll likely sign a marquee man like Smith. It has been talked about a little bit around it being a possibility. I feel like, yeah, it'd be a good signing for him. It's like, there's talks also Jaden Brayley potentially going in at some point for the Eels, signing him from the Knights. So, yeah, I mean, if Brandon Smith goes from, I think it's a pretty good sign, because it'd be nice to see Parramatta get the rebuild. I'm trying to care for them. Ricky Stewart to win Dally M Coach of the Year. Okay, hear us out. They already know. Stewart won this award in 2016, and we think the Raiders could be on the brink of replicating that season. If they do, it'll be on the back of rising half Ethan Strange, who, mark our words, will be an NRL star for the next 10 years. Okay, interesting. That's yeah, it's interesting. You can't put your finger on Canberra, but generally, if they do have a breakout year, yeah, could see Stewart getting Dally M Coach of the M. It's better than when I predicted him to get sacked. But yeah, it's Raiders are a hard team. Obviously, you got next year in 2026 when they get Leo Thompson, so they could be on the up and up. It'd be probably a good thing to see. So, be interesting to see how that goes down. Nico Hines, top point scorer. We don't expect Hines to play Origin this year, but we do expect the Sharks will be there or thereabouts, which means lots of tries for their goal kicker to convert. Throw in 5 or 6 tries now that his halves partner Braden Trindle is taking on more of the playmaking, and we're tipping Hines to top the points. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you know, like always, the goal kickers who end up also scoring tries as well that get up on the high end. And yeah, if they're predicting that the Sharks are going to absolutely go bonkers this year, then yeah, I don't mind at all. It's could be probably a possibility, even if they don't go as well as they probably should. So yeah. Cleary conquers Origin with New South Wales whitewash. They haven't done it in 25 years, but we're backing a fully fit Nathan Cleary to orchestrate a New South Wales whitewash over Queensland. Why the fuck do they always do this? Every single time. This is the only reason that the only justifiable reason Queenslanders have that they're always the underdogs is because the media, which is based in New South Wales, think that this shit happens. But when you look at, like, you know, historical stuff, it doesn't mean anything, but it's just genuine honesty. Nah, Moses is our halfback. But the only problem is, though, is that now Laurie Daly's now the coach, so probably will end up picking him, and all of the same people that ended up, you know, playing out, you know, basically when they selected like Penrith and Roosters and just still couldn't beat Queensland. Dolphins finished bottom 2. We hate to say it, but the Bennett curse is very real, and the Dolphins are a franchise still in their infancy, and now they have a rookie coach. Throw in their recruiting struggles in recent years, and all signs point to a tough year for the NRL's newest team. I don't think they're that bad. Like, they were one game off making the finals this year. I mean, I don't think they'll get bottom 2. Maybe they might fall down a little bit. They've got like a good, solid hand in their front rower now, being Daniel Saifidi. So I don't think the Dolphins will make the finals, but I don't think they'll get bottom 2. I think that's a bit too far. Mark Nawangani-Tawasi, top try scorer. The former Wallaby scored a spectacular try with just his second touch in his NRL debut in the final round of the 2024 regular season. Nawangani-Tawasi scored at a clip in rugby union, and with Joseph Suoli'i, who spends half his time at the Roosters on the wing, there is a void that needs filling. And I feel like he'll do that void as well, and honestly, not that bad of a call, because I feel like there's a bit of resentment at the moment with the Roosters with Dominic Young, because they're on a love-hate relationship with him, because that always happens. But yeah, I think honestly, just get the bottom. He's gonna do well. Broncos part ways with Selwyn Cobbo. It's a sad state of affairs, but Selwyn Cobbo and the Broncos have looked headed for a split ever since Young Gun Sledge's coach Kevin Walters. He was axed from the Queensland side this year, and we're tipping Brisbane officials won't be offering Cobbo a new contract when his current one expires at the end of the season. Yeah, wouldn't be the worst one, but I feel like Michael Maguire could do some wonders with him, so I guess there's that, because I mean, obviously, sledging coach Kevin Walters, but Walters is no longer the coach. So I feel like depending on how Michael Maguire goes and how Selwyn goes, this could be a possibility, but I'd like to stay on the positive, I guess. Dearden replaces Munster as Queensland's first choice 5'8". Cameron Munster has single-handedly won Origin games for Queensland, but we're tipping he gets dropped for Tom Dearden in 2025. But that will only be after the Maroons go down 2-0 in large part to New South Wales superstar Nathan Cleary finally finding his feet at that level, which will not happen because hopefully he doesn't get picked. But basically, I feel like it'll be a somewhat smooth transition because to be honest, I feel there's going to be a little bit of a smooth transition from transitioning between Munster and Dearden. Dearden's going to be the person to replace Munster, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit a slow easing into it, not just baptism of fire, just dropping him in. So, but yeah, definitely feel like Dearden can hold up the job for Queensland. NRLW to announce expansion plans. The NRLW will expand to 12 teams next year, with the Warriors and Bulldogs added to the fold as the competition grows from strength to strength. We're tipping that another 2 will be announced in 2025 as joining the competition before eventually every NRL club has a women's side. I feel like this will, but not next year. I think they need to slow down the expansion a little bit because I think the talent pool is starting to get a little bit stretched thin at the moment, which is also a problem with the NRL. But I just think that they need to cool it down, let it simmer and build the teams up, because I feel like this has kind of been, in terms of, especially with like attendance with the AFLW, is it just all these teams immediately, so we just need to kind of settle ourselves into it. I definitely think the expansion should happen, but just give it a little bit. Jason Demetriou to be announced as PNG's NRL coach. Rugby League loves a comeback story. This is the second time this has been mentioned. And the man sacked by South this year is in the box seat to earn another crack in the NRL. Demetriou is the Papua New Guinea national coach and placed himself perfectly to join the country's expansion side, which will join the NRL in 2028. Yeah, I think that's probably fair enough and reasonable, honestly. Sharks to win first NRLW Premiership. They fell just short against the Roosters in the 2024 Grand Final, but we're tipping the Sharks to avenge that loss and win their first title. I actually agree. I think the Grand Final will be the exact same, will be Roosters-Sharks, but I think the Sharks will do one better than they did last year. Tiana Penatani to win the Dally M. We're tipping Cronulla to return to the decider because of Tiani Penatani, and that she'll be the Dally M medal winner in Grand Final week. Yeah, very solid player. Not shocked at all. Women's match attendance record to be broken in Origin Decider. The Women's State of Origin was a roaring success this year as Queensland won an enthralling series and we're back in the attendance record to be smashed in 2025. Now, I believe the decider is Newcastle. It's Game 1's Suncorp, Game 2's Allianz in Sydney, I think Game 3's Newcastle. And they had the record for it even in pissed up weather. So yeah, if they have a decent weather for it, it'll be sold out and they'll do that. Storm, Dragons, Knights, Eels picked for Vegas 2026. Yes, this we're picking a box first 4 and a 9-horse race, but we challenge you to pull that off in any given Saturday at Randwick or Flemington. Yeah, basically, I mean, be cool. I think the Knights will probably be one of the last teams because they don't want to give up a home game or something like that. So yeah. And finally, closest NRL ladder in years. Since 2020, every season the Panthers have lost players, which has made the competition closer and closer, and we're tipping 2025 to be the tightest yet. Generally, 2023 was really, really close, so I'd really like to see it happen, but I think 2023 might just edge it out, but yeah, hopefully that does happen. So yeah, those are the bold predictions. Some interesting ones in there. Let me know what you guys think about them in the comments below, and also leave your bold predictions for the 2025 NRL season. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.